Aida, don't you find it sad that there are some senior citizens out there who have been abandoned by their adult children?
Yes, I find it extremely sad because we have read the news about parents being abandoned in hospitals and in their homes. We see a lot of elderly just dying alone at home. And that is sad, but unfortunately, that is the society we are living in now. And on that cue, what are we talking about today?
We've heard, we've read in the news about the government mulling introducing the Senior Citizens Bill. So I'm sure a lot of our listeners out there are curious about what this could mean moving forward. And we have a guest with here today, and he's gonna hopefully walk us through this bill and shed some light on the issue that we're talking about today.
Yes, we have Mr. Cheah Tuck Wing, the Malaysian Coalition on Aging, MCOA chairman. Am I correct? Welcome to our podcast.
Thank you.
Maybe address you as Mr. Cheah or Tuck Wing?
Cheah will do. Will do. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Yes. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of aging, it's not fun. Aging is not fun at all.
It depends on how you look at it, I guess.
I suppose.
When there are things that open up as you get older.
Let's just tell a bit of background on this issue. According to the Department of Statistics Malaysia, DOSM, people aged 65 and above make up 8.1% of the population as of 2024. Now, this is expected to rise to 14.5% by 2040. And again, we have written so many stories, uncountable stories about the silver community, aging, Malaysia being an aging nation, and the sad part about children who don't want to take on the responsibility of caring for their parents. I have an elderly mom, and you still have your mom. I'm sorry, you still have both your parents. And I mean, can you imagine just abandoning them? I can't imagine doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine doing that. But I think what a lot of people are having questions about out there is that when we say care or responsibility to care for your parents, like what does that entail? What does that mean? So different people might have different interpretation of that word. So that's what we are hoping to dissect today.
Yeah. So Cheah, let's hear from you. What is the Malaysian Coalition on Aging?
Okay. Firstly, thank you for having me today.
Our pleasure.
The Malaysian Coalition on Aging actually started in 2022, just after the pandemic. The idea actually came from the United Nations Population Fund, or UNFPA. The time we were working closely with My Aging, UPM. They do a lot of research work on aging. So UNFPA wanted the civil societies in Malaysia who are involved in aging to come together to advocate for the elderly because of the United Nations, talking about the rights of people, including the elderly. This was way back in 1997, talking about SDG 1, no poverty, SDG 3, everybody should be accessible to healthcare, SDG 8, inclusivity, employment opportunity for all, So that's how it came about. And in fact, from what I know, when Badawi was the Prime Minister, he actually proposed a senior citizen bill. Even those days. But unfortunately, it dragged on until today. Now we are seriously looking into it. And so Malaysian Coalition on Aging idea is actually to get as many as possible, not only civil societies, also the private sector and the public sector to come together to advocate for the seniors, to look at problems and opportunities that we can work together. So that was the MCOA. And I started one NGO in 2016 called the Third Age Media Association, and the idea of this association is actually also to advocate and also to encourage seniors to live healthily and actively after retirement. And we publish a magazine called The Senior,
Yep.
which is available in selected bookstores. So the idea is to promote aging, healthy and active, even productive aging after retirement through media, right? And so MCOA started because of UMFPA, and we held just after the pandemic, we held a big event in KL Tower. So we have an election, and I was leading the MCOA since then until today, And I'm very glad to say that we have done a lot of work, and we have been very impactful, and ministry has noted our work, and they have actually asked us to be their partner, all right, in advocating for the elderly. So a lot of times when the government, through the Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development, when they want to do policy planning, they will request us for input. So that is, I think we have done a lot. We advocate through many platforms, including podcasts like this, through the media, newspaper, through events like forums, conferences, So there are many ways we can actually advocate. And the good thing is that the government is listening.
That's good.
Yep.
Can you explain, you told me this before we started this episode. What is third age? What does third age mean?
Okay, the word third age, from my understanding, is that it was first coined in France. All right. And they started what we so-call the University of Third Age. University of Third Age is not actually an academic university, but it's basically come up with short programs for seniors, those who have retired, 2-3 months program. It could be covering many things like even ukulele, playing ukulele, singing, drawing, dancing, whatever that seniors may enjoy. Because when they are working, they got no time for limited time for enjoyment. So plenty of time after you retire. So they want the retirees to actually be active. As you know, that it's not just physically active, but also mentally active.
Yeah.
Because a person declines rapidly if your mental health is bad.
That's right.
It's very, very important to keep yourself mentally healthy.
Yeah.
Not only physically, but mentally. Because that is the first, that's why we have problems with dementia and all this. Because we are not engaged mentally.
That's right.
So playing chess, piano, guitar, all these require memory work.
Correct. And you mentioned earlier, circle of life.
Yes,
right?
yes, circle.
If you read some journals out there on aging and the elderly, when they get to a certain age, right, they tend to disengage, which is dangerous.
Yes.
Right. That's why the social circle is very important.
That's right.
So coming back to the Senior Citizens Bill, it aims to create a legal framework to protect the rights and welfare of older Malaysians. And as of June this year, the draft bill has been prepared, but the government is still conducting a stakeholder consultation, and it aims to table the bill in the next parliament sitting once engagements are complete. Why do you think, Cheah, why do you think Malaysia needs this law now?
Personally, I think the law is needed. I know there's a lot of objection over this law.
What
because
is that?
It's quite controversial. Because, for example, why people are against the law, all right? There are adult children who were abused before by their parents.
Yeah.
So they feel that, hey, why should I now be caring for my parents who were not caring for me earlier? They were abusing not only, the father, let's say, for example, the father not only abused the mother, but the children as well, and they just abandoned the children and the mother just like that. And then, in fact, personally, I just met up with one person a few months ago. This guy is in his 50s, and he told me a story. He says, hey, I was abandoned. My mum and my siblings are all abandoned by my father. He went to US to work, and didn't give any sustenance to us. And the mother actually brought up the children. And in fact, I heard the mother was abused herself. Was slapped and all those abuse. So later on, he just came back 2 years ago or 1 year ago, and suffering from health issues. And went back to look for the family. But the family does not want to accept him.
Wow.
And the son who I was talking to showed me a picture of his father. You see, he couldn't find help from the family, so he went to seek help from his other family members, And his family members couldn't take care of him and put him into a old folks home, right, in Karak, from what I heard. Karak. I was shocked when the son showed me the picture of his father in a cage.
Oh my goodness.
In a cage, because he was suffering from Parkinson or dementia or what, and he was wandering around outside the old folks home.
Wow.
So they got no choice. They have to keep him safe, so-called, but in a cage. I told the son, I say, hey, this is your father, please don't treat him this way, and you are the son. Despite whatever he has done, he is still your father, your biological father. And I'm very happy that he took him out later on.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, and this is all actual things happening now in our society today.
Yeah, and
So-
we've heard of this no contact syndrome. No contact, where children are just not in touch with their parents and some siblings. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's why there's a lot of controversy over this bill.
Right.
People not only feel abused, in the sandwich generation, many cannot support the parents because they also have to
Support
support
their
their own children.
Yeah.
Especially now, many couples are working, and they don't have enough financial support to support both sides.
Some can barely pay for their children's, like when you have to put your children in daycare, and that can be quite expensive. And now you added another cost.
Yeah.
So I can see why that's might be causing concern.
Correct. It is real. These are practical things we must look at. It's good to have a law, especially those who willfully neglect, abandon their parents.
That's right. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so it's good to have a law.
Yeah.
In fact, many countries, Singapore, India, Canada, part of US, many countries have that law. It's not to really punish, all right, unless you are willfully neglecting your parents, But I will go through the details about the mediation process and all those. I don't know whether you want to touch on it at this point. So I think that should be the right way, mediation first. So maybe the welfare department or JKM can come in to assess the situation first before it goes to the tribunal or the court. So to assess what is the problem actually. Is it that they are unable to afford paying for the parents' sustenance, because of their family situation, or is it because they were abused before, So it has to be properly assessed, and then maybe if it's really abuse, then it will have to go to some tribunal or whatever to decide. So the first line is never punitive. The first line is to assess first. So I believe this is what the ministry is going to take. It's never punitive. That's why it caused a lot of concern to people. They thought immediately, if I don't care for my parents, I will be punished.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of misconstrued over this thing.
Mr. Cheah, what are the sort of problems that maybe the ministry is hoping to address with this? Are we looking at financial assistance? Are we looking at actual care and attention? Or are we hoping that the adult children will put their parents in the same house? Like what is the ministry looking at? What sort of support are we looking at here?
Actually, the senior citizen bill, which is now known from what I know is the older person's bill. This one I think I need to clarify because I actually checked with the ministry, and they say that they want to be in line with United Nations definition. So the bill should now be known as Older Persons Bill and not Senior Citizen Bill.
But they haven't announced
Because
it yet.
they haven't announced it yet. But they have been using this term already. The minister has been using Older Persons Bill already. So I think they're going to take off this Senior Citizen Bill name.
Why is that?
Okay. Because the United Nations actually used the term older person. That's why on October the 1st, it's called the Oldest Person International Day.
I see.
So they want to go in line with this, all right? So it's just a name, basically. So actually, the Older Persons Bill or Senior Citizen Bill covers a lot of things. It's not just abuse, neglect, and abandonment of seniors. It's actually covering the rights of elderly. All right, the rights of elderly, which rights to affordable housing, rights to healthcare, access to healthcare, rights to long life learning, rights to transport, good facilities or infrastructure, social support, rights to, financial security, So it covers a wide range. But now the focus is more on the elderly abuse and all that, because cases are rising.
Yep.
Many, I think, especially after COVID-19, you find that 2022, 2023, the cases of people abandoning their parents in hospital increased drastically because of people having no jobs. So they cannot keep.
Not only that, it was the pretext of sending their parents to hospital and then just leaving them there and not bringing them back home.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the worst thing is that they take away their ICs. The idea is it won't be traced back to the family. it is that bad,
Yeah.
We work closely with Uncle Kentang. Have you heard of Uncle
Yes,
Kentang?
of course. Yeah.
Kwan Chi Heng, Mr.
Yes.
Kwan Chi Heng. In fact, he just attended our forum on Saturday, last Saturday. And we worked closely with him, and he shared a lot of horror story about abandonment of elderly.
Yeah, they send their parents off somewhere and don't collect them because they want to go on holiday.
There were cases of abandoning parents in cemetery.
Really?
Yeah, you just ask him, he will tell you the story,
Okay.
He received calls from people, the public. He said, hey, there's elderly people in the cemetery. And he went to pick them up and then send them to some homes or what, It is that sad, and they don't have any identification with them. Simply because, like I said, they do not want them, any police or what check. They cannot trace back to the family members. So basically, they're just left to die there, whatever is it, So this is all real story.
Without the IC, these elderly cannot remember the contact number.
Usually, these people have, they are already in serious health issues already, So they either don't remember things or
Cognitive
yes. No, they could be. So these are cases where the family members find it a burden. They couldn't manage this elderly already, so they just abandoned them. So these are actual things, that is happening to our society now. Very sad to say.
That leads me to wonder. What could have possibly driven these adult children to do that to their parents? Is it really that difficult? At times, really that hard? Do they really lack the funds to be able to care for their parents? What are some of the factors, Mr. Cheah?
I think it's various factors. Like I said, the sandwich generations are facing a lot of pressure, the financial pressure of taking care of their children and their elderly parents. This one, Another one is that they are not able to take care because they don't have the expertise to take care with cases like dementia, Alzheimer, Parkinson, Even NCDs are simple NCDs like
non-communicable diseases.
Where you are suffering from kidney failure.
Yeah.
You have to go for dialysis.
Diabetes.
You 3 times a week you have to go for dialysis. Can you afford time to bring your parents or your mom, your dad, your elderly, to dialysis 3 times and you're working? These are practical problems family are facing. You know what I mean? So there are various kind of issues why it's not that they want to abandon their parents, some of them, Majority, I think, love their parents.
The circumstances force.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. It's very sad lah. Because nowadays the cost of living is so high.
Yep.
You know, everything is so expensive, and I mean, I'm sure you know about this, no? Because we are also facing a lot of cost of living pressure.
I think everyone is at this point.
Yes.
Be it, people who are married and the single ones as well.
Yes. That's why those who are willfully neglecting or abandoning their parents, these are the ones that the act should come full force on these people.
Okay, so talking about that, whether adult children could have legal responsibility to care for their parents, what does the bill say about that?
Definitely, the bill says that children will have a legal obligation to their parents. All right? There's no doubt about that, It's a matter of how you approach it, Do you take the punitive approach or do you take the mediation approach first, So I believe the government, will take the mediation approach first.
Even if the law...
Yes, the law is there. We need the law. Definitely we need the law, especially for those willful, abuse, neglect, and all those. That's why Singapore Singapore implemented their Parents Maintenance Act in 1995. So there's 20 over years learning that they have taken place. So we should learn from them, and not repeat mistakes that because in the early days in 1995 when they first implemented the law, they were using the law, the legal approach, to punish, So what happened was that initially the cases were high. Subsequently, they realized that we should not be taking the legal approach. We should, because there are many cases. Majority of the cases actually is that children love their parents. It's just out of circumstances that they have to, not to say what, they have to, let the parents stay somewhere or whatever, So majority love their parents, and as a result, mediation is the best approach to understand the problem, to try to resolve the problem, and not go to court, because court will actually, create a lot of disunity in the family.
It could be counterproductive because now the children you are asking to care for these parents will now have to, in worst case scenario, go to jail.
Correct.
Yeah.
If that happens, who will care for their parents?
Yeah, and what you said earlier about abuse, adult children who are not willing to care for their parents because they were abused. Now, abuse comes in various forms.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be physical.
Yep.
Oftentimes, the elderly parents can be really psychologically disturbed.
Yep.
And it's very difficult to deal with that. So I think there comes a breaking point where the children say, I can't do this anymore. How am I going to take care of my verbally abusive parent?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why, we don't have the expertise to handle our parents who may be having serious dementia problem, They can be violent.
Yeah, that is true.
Right? You can't even, some of us are not even trained to carry a elderly
Off the bed.
from the bed
Correct. There is a
to
way
a
to
chair
do
and all those. Yeah.
I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, there is a way to do it.
So
yeah.
so simple things like this. I think the government is now doing a lot of things. From what I heard, the ministry is now training 2,000 caregivers, both from institution and from the home.
Yeah.
To train people at least basic caregiving. And I think they are focusing on institutional care and home care, which I think is a very good thing. Involves everyone. It's a whole of nation approach. Everyone should know at least basic.
The basic,
caregiving.
yeah. For example, if you're lifting an elderly person, your mom or dad, off the bed, there is a way to lift them so you don't break your back.
Correct.
Yes, there is a way.
Yeah.
And I agree. All this is very important for home care, especially.
And how you handle bed sores and all that. So you must know the basics, So I think the government is doing a lot of good things, and especially under the minister, YB, this Nancy Sukri. She's a wonderful person, and I work with her closely, and she does a lot of good works for the seniors today. And I just want to say that abuse also happens quite rampantly in old folks' home.
Yes, it does.
Institutional abuse, all right? Not talking about, I mean, home abuse, okay, there are some, but I think institutional abuse is more rampant. Just last week only, I heard, that there was somebody abused and she's dead in Sungai Petani, right? I saw some pictures. Wow, this is terrible.
Yes. I think I came across that. Yeah.
So this is more serious. So we have to address both the home abuse and institutional abuse.
Right. What other protections or support could senior citizens expect should this bill be passed?
Like I said, the bill is actually wide encompassing. It's not just about abuse, neglect, and abandonment. It's about giving rights to seniors for lifelong learning, for proper social infrastructure, access to healthcare, to financial security. So there are many things that needs to be addressed, and the senior citizen bill is one that's very comprehensive to address all these issues. So that's why EPF is now allowing people to take out the part of their money under Sejahtera, I think, to pay for
their account.
Their MHIT. Now the government is going to roll out the what they call the medical health insurance takaful early next year with a pilot in July this year. So they need some funds to pay for private healthcare. So MHIT is a collaboration between the Ministry of Finance, Bank Negara, and this what do you call it? The Ministry of one more. I mean three of them came out. Bank Negara, came out with this program because as you know, insurance premium has escalated in the past 3 years, very high. So many seniors retirees has given up their insurance policy. So as you can see now, the public healthcare system is almost collapsing because everyone is queuing up in the public hospitals and clinics, going for treatment. So we need to sort of get these people to have a private healthcare insurance so that they can actually utilize their insurance. Yep.
Mr. Cheah, I mean, just to play devil's advocate here, there are some people that says, you can't legislate filial piety. This is a deeply intimate bond between a parent and a child.
Yep.
And for the government to come in, it could be seen as being, trying to be what we call nanny state, trying to legislate something that's so deeply intimate. Where do you stand on that?
Yes, I mean, like I've said, it's true. There's many are against the law. That you have a law, but you cannot actually buy love. Filial piety is actually out of your gratitude to your parents.
Yeah, and it's about an Asian thing.
Yes, it's Asian values.
Yeah,
that we should bring back.
Human values, in fact.
Yeah, my days, we have many children, and the children will take care of us when we grow old. Those days, those days. But nowadays it's a very different story, because of cost of living and stuff like that, and people seems to be a very materialistic, pursuing wealth and not so much of human values, So things have changed a lot since those days, So we have to bring back those values. And yes, you can have a law to punish, but you cannot have a law to make sure that the children visit their parents or, to buy them a lunch, to meet them, to call them, You cannot have a law to do that. Yes, you can make them pay for failing to do that. You can make them pay, use the law. But what's the point? It's only a short-term relief only. It doesn't work on the long term. You see, elderly, what they want is spending some time with them. So that's why when our Deputy Prime Minister Ahmad Hamidi mentioned about the Parents Care Act, right, which is the equivalent of Singapore Parents Maintenance Act, that come up with a law to punish if you don't care for your parents, right? I my first reaction was that I'm very, very sad. It's not that I'm happy about the bill. I'm very, very sad because I mean, to make society to come up with a law to ensure society care for the parents is very tragic.
Yes,
In a way,
I agree.
yeah.
It is very tragic, We must love our parents out of gratitude because, when we were young, we were helpless, They brought us up, pay us for our education, brought us up. And when they grow old themselves, we don't even have time to meet them, have breakfast with them, and even abandon them. Society has deteriorated to such a level.
Yeah.
The fact that we even have this discussion today, paints a not so
Correct.
rosy picture.
Yeah. We will eventually be judged as a nation on how we treat our parents. The country will be judged by how we treat our parents. And a successful nation don't need a law.
Which is true. But let's say, what if someone genuinely cannot afford to support their parents, financially support, or as we mentioned earlier, the difficulty and complexities in their relationship? How should the law deal with a situation like that, do you think?
Yeah, I think the law would have provisions for this, protection for those who were abused before. And even the government maybe have to come in to provide for the financial security for all those elderly who do not, they were not, their children not caring for them financially. So, looks like the government has to come in, what else can you do? No, is that right?
Yeah.
So, that's the only way to go about this. So,
To be honest, I myself have a lot of questions about this bill, as a young person. I'm not abandoning my mom just so that if she's watching this, just so not, we're still going to go for our daily brisk walk in Putrajaya, so don't worry about that. So actually, my questions are this, number one, people are saying that it might widen the gap between the financially well-off and the not so financially well-off, because the kind of senior citizens who will need care are likely going to be from the B40, not from the T20. And their children are likely going to be from that segment as well. So they are the ones who are probably going to have to be the one doing the caring the most. Like the Tan Sri and the Datuk Sri probably have enough in their savings to care for themselves. So people are arguing on social media. I read all these comments. People are saying that it might disproportionately affect the B40 more than it does the T20 or the M40. That's number one. Number two is that they're saying that it didn't occur to me, but there's another thing that they're saying, because they are. What if they're genuinely poor? They're genuinely B40. They live in a small home. They can't care for their parents. So I think like this is something that the law needs to make clear. So is it intentional or is it unintentional? So that is something that I think needs to be taken into account. And also abuse, on the point of abuse, right? A child can say, well, my parents were abusive when I was growing up. But the law might require that child to provide proof that he was abused. But then how would you be able to provide that proof? Because at the point when that abuse happened, you were not in a position to document that abuse. So how would you prove that? So the law could be seen as being against them in that manner. So I feel like I'm not against the bill, but I feel like these are some of the things that the government needs to look into.
Yeah, it's going to be a complex matter. It's not just, okay, we have this bill, now you have to follow the rules. But there's a lot of nuance that will go into it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this is also one of the reasons why the ministry is now doing a survey, to get more feedbacks from the public, especially. And definitely, to me, I believe until it's played out now, we do not know the details. No, I'm just speculating on my part.
We all
know the provisions will be there. I believe the provisions will be there for all those who can't afford to pay for the bills for the parents, and also for those who were abused before, because cases of abuse by their parents before, I believe it will have to be decided by the court in terms of evidence to be given and all this stuff. I cannot speak on this part. I do not know how it's going to be played out, but I believe the law is fair. Justice will be served.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
The whole point of the conversation is to raise issues for our listeners and hopefully for the stakeholders who are watching this to address the concerns.
But whatever is it, I think the bill is still needed. We still need the bill. It has been outstanding for some time already, and many years already. So we need to really push this out.
Yeah.
Because it's covering the other parts of the welfare and well-being of the elderly, which we cannot afford to wait.
That's right. What are the difference that you can see in the everyday lives of senior citizens if this bill is passed?
Like I said, one thing is that care centers and all that, for example, needs to really, tidy their work. Because right now, a lot of care centers, like old folks home and all those, are not regulated.
That's right.
Because they are not licensed at all.
And the one of the reasons for that, correct?
Yeah, it's only about 400 licensed.
One of the reasons for that.
Thousands of them are, sorry?
One of the reasons for that is a tedious process.
Correct.
Of going through all getting the licenses, and some of them feel it's just a monumental task of getting everything in order with the government agency. It's a dicey situation. So a lot of them are operating without a license.
Yeah, you see, the operator themselves are saying that the government agencies are not facilitating them to register or to get their license. They have to comply with Kobomba. They have to provide with the Ministry of Health regulations. They have to provide with the welfare department regulations, And every state, sometimes the law differs.
Yeah.
So that's why they're facing a lot of issues, And one of the big issues is also getting caregivers. They couldn't get caregivers, And the government do not allow foreigners to be used as caregivers. Do not recognize, in fact, the profession of caregivers, So it is a serious problem, And as we age, and we don't have this in place, it'll be, our country will face a lot of critical issues, So I'm glad that now the government is looking into these long-term care problems and all those, And I believe they are doing something about it, And so care. Like even the nursing cares under the PAFAS, which is the Private Healthcare Facilities and Services Act, it has been gazetted for implementation since 2018, But until today, it has not been enforced. Because if we enforce that PAFAS, then many of this has to be registered, and especially nursing homes, because nursing homes, private hospitals are all registered under PAFAS, and they have to comply strictly by their rules, Whereas the other, which is Act 586, the other act which is 506, which is under the care centers, which are all registered under JKM, which is the welfare department, So only about 400 are registered with JKM, and 19 private nursing care homes under PAFAS, So eventually, I believe many of these will have to go to PAFAS, JKM will then pass it to the Ministry of Health to regulate. And I think the first most important thing is get these people regulated so that we can monitor their, because a lot of abuse is happening there. So if they are not registered, the ministry doesn't even know where are they. How many of them are there out there? Nobody knows this. So many operators out there,
Yeah.
So that's why the senior citizen bill has to be implemented, so that all this has to be controlled and monitored.
What are some of, we want to talk about how society can change to manage this situation, right? Is passing this bill enough though? What are some changes that we as a nation can do to better manage the aging society?
Yeah, I mean, law is one thing, right? Having the citizen bill is one thing. But more important thing is education. We got to start with education. Educating children when they're young, especially at home. Because children see their parents, how they treat their grandfather, grandmother.
Yeah. Yep.
From there, they learn. So that's why it's very important that education must always start at home. Don't leave it to their teachers in schools and all those, no? So everything starts from home, no? It's very important that we have to bring back these values, the Asian values, back to our society, which is very much lacking nowadays, So education and all this has to go together with the law. Never separately. It has to. Children see and they do. The children see and they do. Correct. So they have to inculcate gratitude, a sense of gratitude to their parents for bringing them up.
Yeah.
So once you have that sense of gratitude, it's very unlikely you will neglect or abandon your parents. Correct?
Correct. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
What is the one message you like Malaysians to remember when it comes to caring for our elderly?
Correct. So I want to end with a story, if I may. All right. I got to know of this story when I was attending an event. So it's a Nepalese children's story. All right. And this story has something to do with the bamboo woven basket that's used by Nepalese to carry heavy things. And it's called doko, D-O-K-O. I know why you call it doko or something else. It's called doko. So what happened is this, according to this story, is about filial piety. So what happened is that there was this man, a family man, and his father is old and cannot be able to help him on many things and a lot of health problems and all those. So he find that his father is a burden. So decided to do away with him. So what happened is that he brought this doko, all right, this bamboo woven basket, which the police always carry heavy things around. So, and together with his young son, went through the forest and then up a cliff. The story was that he was going to push the father off the cliff.
Oh dear.
And then the son started crying. So the father asked the son, "Why are you crying?" The father was like, because health issues and also didn't say anything or do it. He say, "I cry because you don't, it's not that you are pushing grandfather away or whatever, but don't lose the basket, You keep the basket, because." So then the father was struck, He said, "Hey, he feels so guilty, Because the son is telling him, you keep the basket so that in future I'm going to use it on you." So he said, "Don't throw the father with the basket into the cliff. You keep the basket." So the guy feels so very guilty, and then he decided to bring his father back home. And this is a lesson about, what you sow, you will reap what you sow. Always remember, you got to train children to love your parents from young.
Is this story available on?
Yes.
We can watch.
You just
these whimsical short stories you can watch on YouTube. Yeah.
Yes. If you Google doko and Nepalese story about filial piety, on doko, you can get the story.
Yeah. We'll watch that.
So in the end, at the end of the day, it's all about gratitude. Learning to love. Law cannot buy love. You cannot legalize love.
Correct. We all need it. We all want to be cared for and loved by each other, right?
Correct.
Yes. Well, this has been insightful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheah, for being our guest today. Thank you to our listeners. Again, feel free to watch out for this episode soon on our platforms, which is at The Star Online and www.thestar.com.my/metro.
Yeah, go home and hug your parents.
Yes, call your mother, call your father.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mr.
Thank you.